They say a man becomes what he thinks about, but I'll tell you something deeper. A man becomes unstoppable the moment his mind is made up. Not half-decided, not wishfully hoping, not caught in the winds of maybe, but fully, irrevocably, unshakably made up. That's when life moves. That's when the tide changes. That's when the universe, with all its unseen laws and hidden machinery, starts bending itself around the will of one relentless soul who no longer asks for permission because he's already decided. You don't need more information. You don't need another guru, another app, another shortcut. You need a decision, a real one. Not the kind you make when you're motivated and break the next morning. The kind you carve in your bones. The kind that says, burn the ships. There's no going back. The kind Cortes made when he landed with 600 men and no retreat. The kind Lincoln made when he said this nation will be united, even if it costs everything. The kind Edison made when he said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That kind of decision. That's the power of a made-up mind. Because when your mind is made up, you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop dancing with distraction. You stop giving average the time of day. You don't try, you train. You don't hope, you execute. That's what separates those who dream from those who build. Those who wish from those who will. Those who wonder what if from those who make it so. Understand this. The greatest weapon you will ever wield is not your talent, not your circumstances, not your connections. It's your decision, fully made, fully owned, fully lived, because the world bends, not to the clever or the charming. It bends to the certain, to the ones whose minds are already made up. You can hear it in their voice, see it in their walk, feel it in their presence. It's the quiet fire behind their eyes. They've stopped explaining, stopped apologizing. They're too busy building, doing, becoming. That's the power I'm speaking to. That's the switch inside you that, once flipped, will never flip back. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. Before your mind can be made up, truly made up, you must confront your own belief. Because belief isn't just mental. It's not just saying affirmations or writing goals in a journal. It's spiritual. It's internal warfare. Every dream worth pursuing demands the death of doubt, the assassination of your old identity. And most people never make it past the battlefield of belief. They get hit, once doubt, twice failure, 3 times criticism, and they retreat. They fall back into safety, into mediocrity, into silence. But belief, real belief, is forged in fire. It's Lincoln failing in business, losing elections, battling depression, and still walking into destiny. It's Henry Ford being laughed at by the automobile industry and still building an empire that redefined modern industry. It's Disney being told he lacked imagination and still drawing the future. Belief is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. It's looking your doubt dead in the eye and saying, you don't own me anymore. That's what a made-up mind does. It puts belief in the driver's seat, not emotion, not opinion, not insecurity. Belief. Because when you believe, you stop asking if. You start asking how. And your brain, that divine engine of problem-solving power, starts finding the way. It bends reality to meet the demand of your decision, but only when that decision is real, when you're all in. Let the others dabble. Let the half-committed spend their lives in limbo. Let the fearful explain why it's not the right time. You are building a future that begins the moment you decide it already belongs to you. But let's get clear. Belief alone is not enough. Belief is the spark, But vision is the fire that keeps you walking through the dark. Every empire, every revolution, every invention was first a vision, something seen not with the eyes but with the imagination, a blueprint etched not in stone but in spirit. Carnegie saw steel cities before there were factories. Ford saw cars in every driveway before there were roads. Oprah saw a platform of influence before anyone gave her a microphone. Jobs saw computers changing lives before most homes had electricity to power one. They all had something in common. They saw it before the world did, and they refused to stop seeing it until it became real. Vision is not a luxury. It's not some fluffy, wouldn't it be nice daydream. It is strategy for the soul. It's what allows you to endure the confusion, the criticism, the chaos, because you know exactly what you're building. Vision silences the noise. When the world tells you be realistic, vision whispers be relentless. When your past tries to remind you of who you were, vision shouts, this is who I will become. And here's the secret. You don't need the whole staircase. You just need to see the next step and take it with conviction. That's how mountains are climbed. That's how legacies are built. Vision with no discipline is fantasy, but discipline without vision, that's slavery to routine. You need both. You need the fire and the focus, the dream and the grind, the mountain top and the boots that will get you there. And that's where we enter the battlefield of discipline. Now hear this, because every time you hit snooze, every time you skip the work, every time you say tomorrow instead of now, you vote against your vision. You tell the world, I don't really mean it. But when you show up, tired, uncertain, unmotivated, but you show up anyway, you are telling the universe, I am already that person. You don't become disciplined after success. You earn success through discipline. It's the late nights in solitude, the early mornings when no one is watching, the quiet sacrifices that no one will ever clap for, but that build the man no one can ignore. Every successful person you admire, every name etched in history, wasn't born with more time, more energy, more luck. They just made up their mind and then backed that decision with daily, ruthless, committed action. Do you want the crown? Then carry the cross. Do you want to lead? Then first master yourself. Because your biggest enemy isn't fear, it's inconsistency. Your biggest threat isn't failure, it's forgetting who you said you were going to become. So tattoo this truth onto your mind. Discipline is freedom. It's the freedom to look in the mirror and say, I kept the promise I made to myself. And there is no confidence like that, no success more satisfying. And when the discipline is built, when the vision is clear, when the belief is immovable, there comes a shift, a transformation, where motion becomes momentum, where action is no longer effort, it is identity. You stop trying, you start embodying. See, action is the great divider. It's the wall between the talkers and the doers, the dreamers and the achievers. Everyone wants to succeed, but few are willing to move when it's inconvenient, to execute when no one is watching, to take massive, imperfect action, even when the path is unclear. The great ones don't wait for clarity. They move into the fog. They build the plane while it's flying. They know that you don't need to see the whole picture, just the next move, because life rewards the mover, life responds to motion. There's something supernatural about it. Start taking action in alignment with your higher self, and the right people start showing up. The right books, the right opportunities. Doors open, not because they were waiting, but because you finally knocked. That's the law. Action creates access. Movement creates momentum. Motion creates meaning. Gratitude is the antidote to entitlement. It is what keeps the ambitious humble. It reminds you that progress is a gift, but the power to progress, that comes from a place beyond you. You didn't breathe yourself awake this morning. You didn't beat your own heart through the night. You are here because something, call it life, call it God, call it the divine, is still giving you time. That is sacred. So be thankful, ferociously, for the struggle too, for the pain, because the very obstacles you curse are carving out the strength you pray for. Gratitude sharpens your awareness. It opens your eyes to what is working, even when so much feels like it's not. Without gratitude, you become a slave to comparison. You chase what others have, forgetting the miracle of what you've already been given. You forget that your journey is unique, that your test is shaping your testimony, and that your responsibility is not just to succeed, but to appreciate the path while you walk it. Gratitude doesn't make you soft, it makes you unshakable. Because when the world tries to steal your joy, you already found it within. But to keep moving forward, you must be something that most people resist, adaptable. Change is not the enemy. Change is the invitation. The ones who survive, who thrive, who dominate are not the ones who cling to the past. They're the ones who can evolve, who can pivot, who can rebuild their plan without compromising their purpose. The economy changes, technology shifts, people leave, plans fall apart, and if your identity is tied to the version of life you thought it would be, you'll crumble the moment reality disagrees. But when your mind is made up, you don't need the plan to stay the same. You just need the mission to stay alive. Thomas Edison's lab burned to the ground. He didn't mourn. He rebuilt. And he said, "Now we can start fresh." That is the mind of the master. Adaptability is not weakness. It is a form of wisdom. It is the humility to learn, to listen, to adjust, and the power to keep moving anyway.